To render a pagination, we're going to use Bootstrap. So here on Bootstrap documentation, if you search for pagination, you will find this component, and this gives you this kind of layout. Beautiful. Now here's the markup we need to use in order to render a pagination like this. So we need a nav. Below that, we need a UL with the pagination class and a bunch of list items. Each item should have a page item class and an anchor with page link class. So let's go ahead and add this to our pagination component. So here, instead of returning null, we're going to return a nav. Inside that, we're going to have a UL with the pagination class. Inside that, we're going to have an LI with page-item class. And inside the LI, we're going to have an anchor with page-link class. Now here we don't need href. Instead, we're going to handle the onClick event of this anchor. We'll come back to this shortly. So let's delete this. For now, let's just add a page number here like 1. Save the changes. Back in the browser. Let's make sure our pagination is rendered. Beautiful. So we've got 1 page here. Now we need to render this dynamically based on the number of items and the page size. So here we need to have an array of page numbers like this, 1, 2, 3, whatever. And then we'll use the map method to map each page number to a list item like this. Now, how do we create this array? Well, in props, we have a couple of properties. One is items count, and the other is page size. These are part of the interface of this component, right? So we set these to props. Now with these values, we can calculate the number of pages like this. Const pages count, we set this to items count divided by page size. So we have the pages count, which can be 2 or 3 or whatever. Now based on that, we need to create an array with numbers ranging from 1 all the way up to pages count. How do we do this? There are different ways. One simple way is to use Lodash, which is a popular JavaScript library with a bunch of utility functions. So let's open up the terminal by pressing Ctrl and backtick. Here we install Lodash version 4.17.10. Make sure to install the exact same version so there are no surprises as you're watching this course. All right, Lodash is installed. Now, here on the top, import underline from Lodash. We could call this Lodash or L or whatever, but underline or underscore is a common convention because Lodash is the optimized version of a popular JavaScript library called underscore. So that aside, now here we need to use Lodash to generate an array with these numbers. So we call underscore.range. Our starting number is 1, and our end number is pages count plus 1. We have to add plus 1 here because this method will not include this end number itself. So if pages count is 4, it will return an array with 3 numbers, 1, 2, 3. That's why we need to add 1 to it to make sure the last page is also included. So this will return an array. We can call that pages. Now we're going to map the items in this array to list items. So pages.map, we get each page and map it to a list item like this. Now finally, we need to render the page number dynamically. So that is page. Let's test the application up to this point. The first error we get is each child in an array or iterator should have a unique key. Obviously, we forgot that. So because we're using the map method here, we should give each li a key. So we're going to use the page number because that uniquely identifies each page. Save the changes, back in the browser, no errors, beautiful. So with total of 9 movies and 4 movies on each page, we should get 3 pages. Beautiful. Now let's take a look at an edge case. Back in the movies component, I'm going to set the page size to 10. Save the changes. So we have 9 movies and 10 items on each page. We get only 1 page. In this case, I don't want to render just this number 1 because it's confusing. So if we have only a single page, we don't want to render anything. So here in the pagination component, if pages count equals 1, we want to return null. So nothing will be rendered. Let's test this back in the browser. But we still have 1 here. What's going on? Well, back in the pagination component, let's do a console.log of pages count. Let's see what we get here. As you can see, our page count is 0.9. And that's why we still have the first page displayed here. So if the result of this division is a floating point number, we want to convert it to an integer. To do that, we're going to use math.ceil method. This will return the smallest integer greater than or equal to this floating point number. Now save the changes. Let's test this one more time. Okay, you can see the result of our division is 1. So we have only 1 page, and that's why our pagination is no longer rendered. So we can get rid of this console.log. We're done with rendering the pages. Now we could also add a previous and next buttons here. For now, I don't want to worry about this. Potentially you can do this as an exercise in the future. Next, we're going to work on raising an event when the user clicks on a new page.